carry. Cool. Congratulations on your win, King. Let's send it back over to the couch.
Let's get in my box.
It's my favorite part of the day.
Let's do it. As mentioned, this seg and next seg, it's all just Nick Box. We've got a bunch of questions. You can continue to send them in if you want. If you got better ones, I'll dump these ones I've written down right now. Like that. AskNickBoy@gmail.com is the email address.
And we've answered a bunch of different types of questions as well for everyone wondering. We've done relationship advice questions. We've done League of Legends questions. Like, really try and push us if you can.
Yeah. In fact, I would encourage no League of Legends questions. I would encourage...
I wouldn't. I would say this is a League of Legends show, and please keep it on topic.
But if you don't, it's
disagree.
fine.
Intensely personal. That's all I want. The first one. Big Biceps Burl. Which team has the combined biggest bench press? Got to get big.
Oh, this is not even hard.
Peak physical, peak mental. Love Big Biceps Burl.
Absolutely, the boys from Melbourne in order have got this covered by a mile.
Really?
Jake would out bench press most teams by himself.
Yeah, Jake. Yeah.
And
I was
then
thinking
Sammy-
about Tally, and I was like, Tally's really dragging that down.
No,
and no offense, Tally.
No,
'cause,
Tally's
like,
good.
I've got a
He's a
Tally body.
Bionicle man. That guy can lift more.
Really?
Than
Tally's form is
Maybe
on
I don't
point.
have a Tally
So,
body.
like, I don't know. I assume most teams are like this, but like, I'll just speak about it from Order's perspective, and then you guys can jump in if it's the same. But mandatory 3 gym sessions a week. They all go. They've all got their programs written up for them, and yeah, they really enjoy it. They go before games, and Jake and Spooks really help Order out in this way. Absolutely. But I will say, individually, biggest bench press out of all the pro players ever. I reckon Swiper's got it covered.
Oh,
I reckon
what
at
about
his peak,
T-Gun?
I mean, he doesn't play at the moment.
Oh, but you said ever.
Of all time.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was going to say, like,
yeah.
can a team challenge Order if they just sign the old goon as a sub?
Probably.
Like who? Yeah, like is anyone close?
Like Chiefs. I reckon Chiefs,
Yeah.
like Swiper plus T-Gun probably gives us a push.
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
If you put coaching staff in there, though, like Rusty does weights, but he does controlled weights. Choo Choo's does like to throw himself around the gym as well. So I like it.
And if we just do it...
Oh, actually, the boss has got a pretty good bench press as well.
He's got... And
he's
got
a
that-
sub, so he's
Is Minky a sub as well?
let's not go that far. Don't even mention his name on the show, please.
And if
Sorry,
we
my
just
bad.
did casters,
Yep.
it would go... Off the top of my head, I would think Rusty, Jake, Bryce... And then Pyro and I have some sort of slap fight to see who loses last spot.
Yeah, I reckon
don't know
Rusty's
what
got me
mine
covered
is.
at the
Do you
moment.
reckon? I'd reckon just
But-
because you're going so hard at the moment.
Yeah.
You got a whole thing going on.
All time.
You constantly bring it up and make me feel bad about myself.
I haven't brought it up at all.
All
You
time.
bring it up every day.
I
But
reckon
it's
I
fine.
got him covered.
Yeah?
Like if it's our best that we've ever done in our life, I reckon I've got you covered.
What is it?
I've done 100.
Okay, you've got me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one rep of 100 was the best I ever did with fish.
I know how we settle this.
Yeah.
You both try and bench me.
Do you know we did a big and strong like Rusty challenge, and
Yeah.
we actually videoed it?
Really?
Me versus fish.
Oh, okay. We got to dig that up then.
So I reckon I would do another one as long as I got a
It's on my
6-month runway.
If you got a 6-month runway.
Yeah, well, like I'll do it split 2 finals or something.
I don't
We'll
think
do it
that
MEO.
counts. Okay, we'll do it at MEO. That's good. Hold us to that. These two will lift things at MEO. And things that you guys bring along. Maybe that's a good way of doing
Maybe
it.
we'll pick up the people that come.
That would be
To
nice.
enter, we have
Yeah.
to bench you in.
All right, good. Next question.
5 people total.
David Erlandson. Why is Rusty wrong about not putting pineapple on pizza? Nullus, anxietis, amicus, which means no worries, mate, in Latin.
All right, that's funny.
Why?
Why are you wrong about not putting... What is your opinion on putting pineapple on
Pineapple does not go on pizza.
pizza? Right, okay.
That's my opinion.
I mean, wrong.
I think... no, I'm backing Rust off.
Like, you're not about to put pineapple on every pizza, but like a Hawaiian pizza, that can exist.
I don't know. That's like saying... you know, you shouldn't put poo on a pizza, but if you made a poo pizza, it would, you know, it's in the
No,
name.
but like
so it's fine.
I would not eat a poo pizza. I'd eat a Hawaiian pizza. and
But
it's
you eat
fine.
Hawaiian pizza, so you basically are.
I will say, for people at home, you can eat whatever you want to eat.
Yeah.
There's like, you know, get your calories in, make sure it's a balanced diet. In saying that, just in the same way that if you take pasta, tomato sauce,
Yep.
and like cut up a hot dog,
Yep.
you're not eating real pasta.
That's
like
true.
you can't say that this is pasta L hot dog.
Yep.
You can't say that like pizza has bloody pineapple on it. That's atrocious.
And also, Rusty's lifting the most out of all of us, so
So no
clearly
one's
not
disagreeing.
putting pineapple on a pizza is working out for you.
Also, just not really allowed to have pizza very often either. But you know,
What kind of life do you live?
I prefer just meat on pizzas. I don't like pineapple in general. I'll preface it with this: like, if you like pineapple, fair enough, chuck on whatever you like. But I'm not a fan of pineapple. Full stop. So
As a fruit?
Yeah.
Oh, that's where you lost me.
yeah,
It's the second best fruit.
Oh, whoa.
The second best fruit.
What's the
Behind your
best?
kiwi fruits?
No, behind mango.
Okay,
Oh no, mango's
is
number one.
best.
I'll
There
give
we
you
go.
that.
Yeah, everyone
Yeah.
loves a mango.
Do you know what is a good fruit that is underrated?
Kiwi fruit.
Figs.
Oh, yeah. Well, figs are... I feel like
But they're like $1 million.
figs are pretentious.
Yeah, they are a pretentious.
Figs
Okay.
have got a reputation.
Forget I said it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just going to leave it there. Next one. Alexander Civil. Now, I need help with this because I don't understand this question at all. Hey, should I just be a Chad Chaddington and go, you know what? Sin goes between -1 and 1, so let's just make this 1 and let's make this 1. To the love of my life. Sybil? Help me, Nick. You're my only hope. I'm hoping that Bryce gets this.
Well, I don't really get it, but that is Sybil's brother.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
that
got
was-
So,
that
yeah,
much.
that's the yeah. Okay.
That's
That
as
much
far
I
as we
understood.
got.
Should I just be a Chad Chaddington and go, you know what? Sin goes between -1 and 1. So let's just make this 1
Is there?
and let's
Does
make...
anyone
I hope
understand
this
what
is
that
like a
means?
math
What?
equation and we're actually supposed to be saying sine.
Oh yeah, that's possible.
Oh,
Sign
Because
mathematical.
I know they're both very, very smart. Do you know how I
Right.
know that? Because they're both from Toowoomba. And every single person I know that is from Toowoomba
That's true.
is a genius. So
You
I
don't
assume
think of
that
the
just like
place.
you get like, you know, when you play like, we'll call it Mum, right?
Yep.
We're playing a MMO, it's called Mum.
Yep.
It's way upside down. Anyway,
We're in
you know how you
Australia.
get racial traits? Like, if you are a Toowoombarean,
Yep.
you just get like +30 to your ATAR score.
Right, okay.
Like,
No,
that's how it works.
it absolutely is sign,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Like,
people are
we're
saying
just-
yes, it's sign.
we're
That
just-
still doesn't help me.
Yeah, we're just esports and like Sin was a team, so we're just...
Yeah,
No,
we
so
just
what
in
I
my
think
head,
it is,
yeah.
isn't
Yeah.
it like when in a maths equation you just have to attribute numbers to like certain values to be able to figure it out? I did pretty good maths, and I remember doing stuff like that, where like, you know, if they have too many letters in there, you do have to do that every now and again. So I assume it's a maths equation.
I still don't understand
Is the question framed to the love of my life, Sybil?
Yeah.
Or is
Yes.
that what, like...
Yeah.
But
I'm
why is
very
it
confused.
Sybil question mark?
I feel like I can interpret this, and this is going to be so wrong, but I
Yep.
can interpret this as let's remove the negativity from their life.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. I interpret it as a very dirty joke that only brothers would understand.
Yeah, it
Like,
probably
this is
is.
Most
definitely an
likely.
in-joke, and whatever I've
I hope
said is
Sybil's
terrible.
watching.
And there's a family chat somewhere
Oh,
where it's like, I
absolutely.
can't believe they just put that on. Then like rocket ship
Alexander, what are you
emojis
doing?
and, like-
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Sorry,
absolutely.
Dad.
Ozzy Osbourne, what'd you have for lunch today? Simple. We can answer these kinds of questions. This is the kind of question the OPL can answer.
What did we have? It was a beef bento box.
Yeah, it was no good. Riot, if you're watching, and I assume you are, it just up the food game when it comes to the bento boxes.
Yeah, I skipped the food.
Please.
Always here.
It's
And I had tonkatsu ramen, Chashi Lover's tonkatsu ramen.
that's nice.
And I got an extra egg.
Bryce,
I had a
Good
bento
call.
box. And I actually thought it was all right.
Yeah, but you are vanilla ice cream with the eating game.
you are. Yeah, you have terrible
Chico
taste.
roll.
I
likes
eat
bento
for
boxes.
sustenance.
That
Yeah,
is
I know,
such
that's the definition
kind
of
of the
having
problem.
terrible taste.
There you go.
Pyra,
Yeah.
you went and got
Uh,
your own bento.
Yeah, I got like a curry bento box. It was really good.
My thing is, I was thinking about this on the way in, because I was like,
We all eat Japanese, by the way.
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. I was thinking, well, I mean, we were all provided with Japanese, and someone, and
I
both
went
of
and
you,
got,
yeah, okay, yeah, good point. On the way here, I was like, maybe I should stop and get something else to eat. I don't know what's here for lunch. I think there should be a system where we're informed what there is for lunch.
Ah, absolutely.
So that I can avoid it if I want. And this sounds like complaining, because it is. But it's just like, of all the food options in the world, why do we get, oftentimes, very bland ones?
I don't know. I think that right now you're going to go upstairs and the office manager is going to give you a stir talkie to it. I look forward to it.
It's a Saturday. They're not even here. They probably just Uber Eached on their phone and just hit the lowest rating, and that's the restaurant that they picked. Let's round
That's
this
how I thought.
sesh out. Wim Dunker
Wim
says,
Dunker.
if you could be any Dragon Ball Z character, who would you be? Easy 8.
What do you think?
Who you would be?
No. Is this? Are we picking for other people?
I don't know.
No, you get to
I
pick
feel like-
yourself.
I
If
feel
you
like
could
we
be
You gotta
should.
pick
anyone.
yourself.
Yeah.
Interpret this question as who are we all in that universe?
I don't know enough.
Yeah, that's
I think
my,
Spawn
I
is
just-
Piccolo because he yells a lot.
Is that the green guy?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. I know that one.
I would be Piccolo or Vegeta.
You would be Vegeta.
Yeah, actually, Vegeta.
Nah, you are
Why,
Vegeta.
why
better
is
one.
that? Explain.
So Vegeta is like he's a bad Saiyan.
Well,
Well,
at first.
Spoiler.
I've played the fighting game.
He's the heel that you like.
Yeah, so like
Okay,
he's a
that's-
bad
yeah,
Saiyan
that
that
is
becomes a
him.
good guy because he has like a rivalry, but
Yep.
he often goes over to the bad side.
So
And he's also very arrogant, which I might or might not be. And he's very concerned about how he looks, which I might or might not be.
Bit of
And-
Someone was too good to wear 2 different fitting size shoes today, so
Yeah.
I think definitely.
And then he also like kind of like has this thing where like he must be the best.
All right.
Otherwise he gets very mad.
So this is an autobiographical TV show. Saiyan and Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Well, a Saiyan is a race. A Super
Oh,
Saiyan
it's a
is when
race.
they reach a certain
Okay,
power
right.
level.
I
Yeah.
thought Saiyan was the first level of power and Super
No,
Saiyan was
a
the
Saiyan
second.
is like a humanoid that has a tail that turns into a monkey on a full moon.
I want to be Majin Buu. Like, just the, like, you know.
You want to be Fat Boo, not Skinny Boo?
Yes,
Or
I
Kid
just want to
Boo?
be the big.
The
just-
one who
yeah.
turns them into cookies.
Yeah, okay.
Does he?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
I
does.
don't know. I
with,
just
with the little head laser thing.
yeah, the little woohoo. Yeah, I just that's
That actually is you. You're like really trolly like that.
You're
so
like
it's perfect.
Trunks.
You reckon I'm Trunks?
Yeah, you're kind of like
I'm
Trunks.
so down with being Trunks.
What's Trunks?
Like when
Agree, Nick,
you and
agree
Pastry
so
Time
hard.
remind me of like Kid Trunks and Kid Goten running around together, just making trouble.
Yeah.
I dig it.
I'd be Pikachu.
No, you would be like Chi-Chi or Bulma.
Yeah.
Or Bulma.
I'm
You're
gonna
holding
go.
pro-
Chi-Chi.
Nick is the pro Caso who we had yesterday, just like in the show.
What is
Thanks,
the name
mate.
of the guy?
Wait, is Chi-Chi the girl that Goku proposed to?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, I'll take it.
Who's the fighter during the Cell Saga?
Hercules or Hercules or whatever the hell his name is.
Yeah.
He's like
That
so
could
he's
be
a
him.
normal person
Yep.
that's like the champion of the world, but he's not like an alien, so he's just like human strength. And then like they send him to fight like the bad guys, and
good.
he's just like he's terrible.
All right, good. Well, it's nice to know what you all think of me. It is time to move on to the next game of the day. Order versus Legacy. Let's get up the spicy tips. Because I want to see. I can't remember. I think I definitely backed Legacy.
Yeah,
Everyone else backed Order?
Order.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We don't
sure.
even need to get... Oh, there they are. All right. Order tips, take this one out.
But if you win this one,
Oh, yeah.
you can only tie.
Yeah.
Like
Unbeatable.
no, you are definitely beatable. Pyro can tie you.
Well, we're going to find out right now. Jake is your Twitter POV, so head to @OPL to check that out. Send in your Nickbox questions, ask Nick Boy, you know the address. And also send in your pictures that you drew for the comic thing, because we're drawing that in the next couple of segments. Let's go to the desk.
Welcome to day 2, weekend. I don't know. Nick Boyd,
No,
he's
no, no,
getting
no,
very
no.
energetic
Yeah.
right now. This is pretty cool.
He said League of Legends the other week, so I mean, it's just it doesn't even
We
matter.
need a
what he
video
says.
compilation at the end of this. But we're in the picks and bans. It's Order versus Legacy. Order, currently 6-9. They are kind of on the lower end of that fight for the playoff race. They are still very capable of doing it, but they're going to need to start picking up some wins. Fortunately, they have Legacy in their sights, who can be a bit of a wild card, but have been one of the weaker teams in the OPL so far. Yasuo,
Yeah.
Lissandra band away.
I feel like that's a pretty apt way to put Legacy, right? They do some weird stuff. Yesterday it was like a Zoe bottom lane, and they did get absolutely bopped by bombers. So the game was incredibly rough, but they're willing to try new things. Denian has said multiple times that they just want to pick for early game to even have a chance at going towards mid game at an even footing, and I would expect, honestly, something fairly similar here. And you mentioned Order. Yeah, they had what could have been a fairly close game versus Chiefs yesterday. In the mid game, they did have a little bit of a lead, but then it was like a very nice play from Chiefs to turn that one around, and then kind of fell into a shambles. So they have had a topsy-turvy split, some ups, some downs, but they're certainly coming in as the favorites here against Legacy.
They certainly are, and they definitely need to pick up as many wins as they can to try and keep that playoff race going for themselves. And there's a
hey.
Nico locked in. We've so far only seen Avant do this,
Yep.
but a lot of possibilities where that can go, as we've been talking about. And on the opposite side, Legacy have left themselves open the ribbon.
0% win rate, by the way.
Yes. 100% gun crab play rate.
Yes, so we will see whether it's AV or whether it is Nico in the OPL. 7 seconds left on Legacy side of the coin. It's not going to be a
Switched up to
ribbon
Thresh.
lock-in blind.
They
That
might
would
still
be-
do it. I mean, it is a
Yeah.
Paparize kind of special,
They could
right?
do it later. They have had a very rough game into an Urgot, a very good game into a Silas, and Riven is certainly a champion they can pick up, but this early, expect not. Rek'Sai blind makes a lot of sense, probably the most blindable jungler in the current meta.
Yep.
Matchups are pretty good across the board, and Aatrox, Jarvan are the only two jungle bans here, so Spook still has a lot of things to go towards if he chooses.
And Spooks has a very deep champion pool as well. The Braum is locked in, so if that is about Nico, we will have that same composition as
Yeah.
Yvonne did take. And a Zoe gets picked up for Swiffer.
And interesting, I don't expect this to happen, but already you have a Braum, a Zoe, and a Nico. We expect on-hit Nico to come through. Get to that in a
Chaz gets
second.
that again.
Yes, but they could go towards like a poke build, right? They could actually build AP and play her quote-unquote properly.
Yeah.
When they have the makings of a poke comp or a siege comp or anything like that. But yes, Chaz, this is a couple of weeks in a row where he's picked up the Corki. This time we'll be into the Zoe. Last time it was Claire's Corki and had a fairly decent time. Milliseconds off killing him at level 6.
This is going to be all about the dodges in the mid lane. I'm going to be loving this mid matchup, especially at level 6. Should be an exciting one, and Legacy have won games off the back of Chaz playing well. He is definitely one of those stars in the making on the Legacy lineup. Now we're into ban phase 2. Nocturne's taken off the board away from Spooks.
Yep. Assassin, like Zed, wants space to play the map, and Nocturne just denies you that space. Also has a fairly decent matchup into the Rek'Sai, so that makes a lot of sense. I expect if the ban is to go towards the jungle, it may be something a lot more standard like the Sejuani or the Gragas, whereas Order on the other side, they're removing annoying picks. Praedyth can play basically everything, and Cassio has been the ban away to just try and shield some of their side lane matchups. Maybe it's to do with a Nico. Maybe that's a Nico top in the hands of Tally, and then Cassio is like an answer for Paprise. Haven't seen it yet, but could be interesting.
Well, we'll see what the answer is at the end of it all. We have one Cassio ban away, one more ban available to the Order lineup, and it will be the Vladimir. So another top lane pick has been removed from the table, and it's back over to Legacy.
Yep, so they have some options now. I expect it's just going to be an 80 carry lock-in. Probably something a lot more standard with this composition. Like, you could go for a blind Kaiser, you can go for a Callista to pair with a Thresh. That makes sense.
Get a little bit of yo-yo going on with the throwing in for the hooks.
Yeah.
And that is something that would be left field, but we still got 5 seconds.
There's no way they're going to lock that one in. They've already got the jungler.
I thought for a second, like, oh, it's a jungler throwback. I'm going to wait, there's a Rek'Sai.
Yep.
Debated myself.
Unfortunately, it won't be the case. And Callista Thresh is a very strong early 2v2 lane. And now, we've seen Nico, and we've seen her struggle to organically get advantages in the bottom lane. Thresh Callista, that would be a tough one to do it against. So if this does go in the hands of Dream, then he has a tall order, and it is going to be in the hands of Dream, because that's a Scion lock-in for Tally. He's just playing the weak side, and...
All right. This is interesting.
Here we go.
That they first picked the Nico, and it ends up going into the same role that we've seen so far with a 0% win rate. Rounding out the composition order, still need a jungler for Spooks. It looks like they will move towards a more standard one, or maybe not.
Ooh.
Get a little bit extra damage in there because we got a Kindred.
Yeah, okay, so she can dance around the jungle and be able to play with the Rek'Sai, but the big thing is denying the assassination potential. Look at the comp Legacy have put together. Zed, strict assassin. Thresh can pick on one person and one person only with the hook, and you want to assassinate that one guy. Kindred, if Spooks gets a valuable Lamb's Respite this game and he can deny the one-shot, there's not a lot of other tools that Legacy have to play with. So I feel like the Kindred ulti is going to be pinnacle for this team composition here that Order are putting together as, yeah, interesting lock in there.
Yeah, the Victor is the last pickup, so we would reason that goes towards the top side, given Chaz's tendencies to play the Zed, and it just kind of becomes this wave clear bot. But it does round out by giving them some AP, so I wonder if maybe that was a Legacy plan to try and build a more round composition.
And that was probably a pretty early read by Order side of the coin. They know they want to go towards a strict tank at the top side, so they ban the Vladimir, who can, in a Scion lanes, traditionally goes for the Klepto and then just farms his head at like double the rate a normal ruined Vladimir would. Victor can do pretty much the same thing, but is just kind of less effective than a Vladimir at later games.
Right.
So they remove the lesser of the two evils, or the greater of the two evils rather, and Victor emerges as the response. Makes a lot of sense. I expect him to go towards that Klepto and just try and be that guy, but this is going to be a spicy game. This is another back-to-back week where Legacy have gone for like the early game, right? Callista Thresh, Zed level 6
It's what
spike.
seems to work for them. When they get successful games, it comes off the back of early game play. I've got my eye on that bottom lane. I've also got my eye on Guts, because what I really want to see is the Legacy jungler getting into the mix early and often. We haven't seen him show up to the party before everyone else has arrived, and fashionably late is not how you get the ganks off, Bryce.
And I want to keep my eye on Legacy's skin choices. Zed, Blood Moon skin. Callista, Blood Moon skin. Thresh, he has a bloody Blood Moon skin. And if they haven't
always bloody.
If they haven't gone towards that one, I'm going to be very upset.
All right, well, we'll see if the coach is going to berate them similarly if they don't do those things as well. We're joined by Denian once again. Thanks for
I am
being
definitely not a skin coach, by the way.
Oh, no?
No.
Oh, I hate you so much.
This is off to a wonderful start. But let's kick things off by talking about your opposition here. Because Order go for a Nico bot lane that Avant has done twice. It's a 0% win rate in the OPL. Did this surprise you at all?
Like, we had been thinking about it a bit ourselves, but it was a bit of a surprising to see it first pick. I think maybe they thought we would play it or something, which who knows, but.
Okay.
I think it was just like they were maybe a bit extra worried that we would do it because we've done a lot of weird things into them.
So that is fairly interesting. I want to talk about the man on our screen right now in Chaz. Watching like our Legacy content, he's like, man, like a week ago I had the Z into the Corkies, the best matchup in the game. That's exactly what I want to play. And he's talking about how he's just been practicing for these sort of moments. Like how confident is he here getting the Z round number 2?
I mean, we just wanted to get him on something that could have a high impact and to get everyone happy. And everyone's happier when he's on something with a high impact like he has today. So I think we're all really excited to see if he can have the high performance that he's used to today.
Ooh, bit of a rough start there, though, with Crazy getting caught out in First Blooded. So we don't always have the coach there when things like that happen. What would you say to Crazy right now, Denian?
Well, it's just a bit unfortunate that they didn't play around the Callista binding very well. But a lot of teams do invade you for that, and I guess we kind of forgot.
Yeah, so fairly rough start to this one. I want to talk about like what that means for the composition. So you guys have kind of heavily invested in the early game once again. Is this something, well, you said a couple of weeks ago, like that's the style you're going for. Is it still that sort of stuff? It's a Zed, it's a Callista Thresh?
Well, I think this game is very early styled. I mean, we do have a bit of a late game insurance. Callista isn't that bad late. Victor also has really good late. But the main thing is, like, from a learning perspective, if you give them compositions where they have to play really well early on and they can't make mistakes, then it helps them get better at realizing what those mistakes are and get better at it over the long term. So my view was, like, it can help them maybe win games now in snowball games, but also...
It's a long-term
Yeah, when they go back to compositions that, like, feel a bit more normal, it's like, well, we've been in this position before, let's not make this mistake.
Somewhat like you're training basketball with training weights.
Yeah.
To, like, grow your vertical jump, stuff like that. And I want to ask, is that from like your experience as a player? You've been around for like the League of Legends scene for a very long time. Is that like you're bringing into this Legacy lineup?
Well, I just felt that we were having a lot of issues getting to, like when we started, we were doing really well early on, and it was kind of crutch on our early game that we just like thought, oh, we'd just do really well because we have a lot of good mechanical players.
Yep.
Then we started having troubles in the early game, and I just decided this is the first thing that happens in the game is the first thing we have to focus on.
Yeah.
So it was just like we
Not
had a lot
steps,
of games that we won because we came in strong in the mid game, and that's not really like how you, at least how I feel a team should be built around. I don't think we should build it around. They are doing really well in the mid game. Let's just sack lanes every game.
Yeah.
So I think they are better than that. They know how to do better than that. And unfortunately, it's not going better right here.
See if that changes as the game goes on. Thank you, though, for joining us, Denian.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Cool. So a couple of things have happened. We talked about the First Blood a little bit during the course of the interview, but also Spook's really giving Guts a bit of a hard time here, stealing away his blue buff just a moment ago. You want to talk on that one, Bryce?
And I want to highlight what Denian spoke about. It's something that, from a spectator's point of view, if you don't know about it, it's hard to see. Callista binding got changed at level 1. If you bind your support straight out of the gate, because you cannot throw the spear unless the champion is visible. It used to be you pick Callista, you just spam their portrait upon starting the game, and they get bound even before the champion has been summoned onto the rift. But nowadays that isn't the case. So the support, if they go towards that banana bush in the river, is always late. And that's exactly where Crazy got picked on. Swiffer has to burn the flash here, but that's how this game started off. So Crazy loses his flash, and then Guts is being denied his blue buff and access to the bottom side of the jungle because it's a Kindred rather. Sorry, so Spooks has the range advantage, has the priority on this Callista Thresh lane from his bottom side. So Jake walks up, steal away the jungle camps, and as Denian mentioned, this is just not a good start to the game for the Legacy.
No, it isn't. Paprise is forced to flash, and he does get cut down with a decimating smash there. Now, Tally can't quite close the distance on him though, so it is 2 flashes traded for 1.
Yeah.
Paprise is actually going to be pretty happy with that at the end of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Heavy misplay from the order lineup. Tally actually flash and starts the charge inside the Victor bubble. So he gets the knock-up, sure, but he can't follow up. He can't get any closer because he is stunned up, and as is Spooks on the other side. And Paprise does get the 2-for-1 trade, which probably doesn't feel good, but certainly isn't a bad case for him at any rate.
It's not. Now, this is something we haven't seen a whole lot of before, and that's the Nico Braum lane pushing in.
Yeah.
But this is a different lineup that they're up against. The Callista at the early level is not necessarily going to have the same level of push.
Crazy is also a very interesting Thresh player. Doesn't go for the Relic Shield DMAT with the Inspiration secondary, actually goes for coin and has the stopwatch. So he's a less lane-focused Thresh. That hook was what?
And a great little play there. Jake takes a lot of damage off the back of it with the Ignite burned.
All right.
He's zoned out of lane.
Honestly, great job from Crazy, but Jake, bad luck, bud. He's standing behind 17 creeps, and This is one of those things
That's threading the needle
where,
right
yes,
there.
when you get into hyper-competitive League of Legends, like skill shots like Blitzcrank hook and Thresh hook are the tiniest bit slightly bigger at the end of the animation. And this is something like I like to call the corner of the hitbox, right? Like, you can thread it around the minion because they have small hitboxes, and the fact of the matter is Braum is a big champion, so he sticks out the left, and Crazy just threw it what looked like through the minion, but like slightly around the side, then it latches to the corner. Jake gets pulled in, gets a big chunk.
That is always a bit of an uh-oh. And speaking of uh-oh, Guts thought he was safe in that brush. He's ended up having to call on Chaz for help because the order's coming through with the gank squad. So far, built themselves a nice little healthy 1,000 gold advantage at the 6-minute mark, and Scuttle Crab going to be cleared away by Spooks here.
Yeah, and I feel like this is the way that a lot of teams attack Legacy. They look towards Guts in the jungle. Like, they set him behind it, and they really don't have an avenue to play towards. It was yesterday Volcan, like, getting a solo kill in the jungle, Mimic getting a solo kill on top side, and then the game just gets completely boomed from there. This is Crazy blowing his flash level 1, and unfortunately for the Rek'Sai, he's losing blue buff. Now he's losing the Scuttle Crab to the Kindred. Marks are handed over to Spooks, and he's having a very strong start, and the Rek'Sai's falling behind, so it is a tried and true strategy against this Legacy lineup, and it looks to be pretty effective.
Legacy definitely going to have to find some answers there if they want to keep in the race. Now, technically not out of playoffs just yet, although that could change very quickly here. Guts is going to have such a hard time. He does smite down onto the Gromp here, but he's forced to tunnel away onto his own lane. Meanwhile, Paprise up top on the level 6.
Tally does flash.
Flying. And Tally, he's got to take the unstoppable onslaught into some money. Meanwhile, we got ourselves a big old fight down to the bottom side. Spook starts by killing Guts, but the rest of Legacy are right behind here. Dream is going to pop the heal. Jake's still running for his life, and Legacy can't find another answer. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Both junglers go down.
Yeah, but across the board, that was a good passage of play from Legacy. We'll have to see what happened to start that one off, as Paprise was just bullying out Tally. But if you took a look at where Swiffer was on the map when that started, he's straight up in mid lane. They're walking over Vision. We see Chaz walk over the dot push ward, and Order should know he's rotating down, but they're just way too far committed. The Thresh punishes, lands the hook, the fly over the wall. Unfortunately, they don't have tools to continue to commit to pick up anything more than the 1-for-1, but Spooks with a 2-0 start to this game probably shouldn't be dying there, and Order somewhat disconnected from their mid laner.
Just a little bit, and Legacy are going to take every little advantage they can. Still in the gold deficit here. Meanwhile, we're going to check back into the bot because the action just doesn't stop now.
Dream
They've got the
6.
stun up onto Crazy. He's forced to flash. Pop Blossom! Not going to connect, but Praedyth was oh so close, and Spooks just on the outside, spotted by that ward. We haven't gotten to talk much about the mid lane because the action's been everywhere else.
Yeah, certainly. And that was Chaz blowing his ulti in the bottom side skirmish, right? So Swiffer has a little bit of time where he is flashless and hasn't had to deal with the death mark available from Chaz, which kind of sucks, kind of doesn't. He did get the assist down there, has the serrated Dirk, and as you can see, Swiffer is very afraid of this Zed, right? He's going to Seeker's Arm Guard first item. He's probably got double armor in the mini runes, whatever the hell people want to call those, where you can just take raw stats, and is sitting on a barrier for as long as possible to just deny the one-shot potential.
Flex runes.
Flex runes?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're talking like the ADAP or adaptive,
Yeah, like
right?
the adaptive damage, you get the attack speed.
There is a flex option in there.
Yeah, okay. I can get behind that. They're almost the masteries of this era of
yeah,
runes.
like the whole runes and mastery system has kind of been moved so far beyond what it originally was here. Now there is going to be another hook in by Crazy to play back. Flash though, Praedyth very low under the tower here. There's a body block for Crazy. Dream going to tank one tower shot, but Order's bottom lane getting the better of it. And remember, this was a lineup that, without the nameplates, we would have thought that Kalista Thresh would be winning.
Yeah, well, I mean, it started at level 1, right? Crazy hasn't been able to play this game as a Thresh because he's just been straight up put behind. And I want to note as well, this isn't a Hail of Blades Nico Brawn that we saw from AV. It's, interestingly, an actual press the attack. So Nico already has the on-hit, like the 3 proc passive, and then does a big burst of damage, gets the movement speed. When you tie that to a press the attack, it functions a lot similarly to the Kindred, who in this regard has actually gone towards the Hail of Blades, so it gets the first 3 autos much quicker, but that third spike is super potent and does only have the Berserker's Greed, so didn't mean that much there, but certainly a different style of play than Gunkrab was showing earlier.
You were talking about Swiffer itemizing fairly defensively against the Zed. I think it's worth saying that everyone on Order has kind of gone for a fairly defensive itemization. We'll look at the items in a minute because the gold game kind of coming up at the moment, and we're seeing where some of the advantages are lying. That jungle matchup, Spooks, hugely in favor here, shy of the 10-minute mark.
Yep.
About 700 gold in his pocket ahead of his opposite number.
And that is partially why this Zed pick has been relatively unsuccessful so far. We're only 10 minutes into the game, but Zed is one of those champions that wants to be finding the one-on-one kills, if not at least have the one-on-one threat. But because Order have done such a good job of tracking Guts around the jungle, they set him behind early, and their jungler happens to be a Kindred, Chaz hasn't had opportunities to really be soloing at Swiffer. You saw pre that base that Swiffer just took, it was Spooks rotating in and hitting the wave and allowing him to just push it in for free. Zed's not going to go on you in a 1v2, and he gets back to base, gets to walk back onto the map. He now has the Lost Chapter. His stopwatch has come online, so the roughest part of the lane, kind of between level 6 and level 9, has been weathered very successfully, and Chaz is honestly struggling to find the opportunities I feel like he needs in this matchup.
And that's how teams have been able to shut down this Legacy lineup, when they put a lot of their eggs in the Chaz basket. So here at the 11-minute mark, we see Spooks being able to pick up a Mountain Dragon solo for free. He's able to hop through it. All that vision investment, too, meant that Legacy just didn't really have any eyes on what was going on down there.
Yeah, certainly. Look at the triple pink wards. Rek'Sai is on one right now, but there's one at the side bush mid. He just gets pinged out. There's one in the dot bush as well. So Order have been heavily investing control around the Zed because they look at this composition and they're like, yes, this is the Nico Braum. They constantly have priority, so the Kalista Thresh kill threat is down. They can use that priority to walk towards mid, and the only relevant member in the early game is that Zed. Tally may be in trouble for round number 2 here.
That's another ultimate spent for the defense. He just tries to take the train out of the station. Now Spooks is going to get jumped on by Chaz. Lambs with Spike come through. Even the Chicken's getting involved in this, and Gutsy is there. There comes the heal. He flashes away, and they tag in once again. They take down Spooks. It's Crazy who claims the kill credit. Meanwhile, on the opposite side, though, the fight is still going on as Swiffer going to turn it back around, looking for Guts, the finishing blow. He should be able to find it, or will he? The Lantern takes it out to safety. The fight's still going on right now, and they haven't found a kill. Papyrai's turning around. They get the flay back, the hook. Jake goes golden. Meanwhile, though, Papyrai's taken out by Swiffer, and Crazy finds himself without any allies, and it turns the way of the Order boys.
And a complete disaster. Dream is looking for more onto Guts. He gets the Scuttle Crab, and Blast Plant will get him to safety, but look at the top laners. Paprise is dead. Tally didn't even walk to the play. That was a genuine 4 versus 5, where Chaz uses his ulti and does not get the kill because of that Kindred. They burn everything. They keep committing to the play, and Swiffer was just able to answer time and time again. You see Spooks, he's fine. He's standing here right now inside Lamb's Respite, flashes towards the Braum. Very nice hook from Crazy, but Dream is untouched here as everyone is standing behind Jake, and Swiffer is just soloing out Guts on the back end. It's slightly denied by the Raptor Pit there, but Praedyth hasn't been auto-attacking for a good few seconds. Dream is doing exactly the opposite. Papyrai's TP'd in with a low mana bar, and he just used his ulti on Tally, so really didn't have a lot of tools for a Klepto Victor to leverage, and he honestly doesn't want to be leveraging himself at this point of the game. So Legacy, they just force a little bit too hard, and game blows open. 5 kills to 2, gold lead 2K. This is rough stuff.
Starts ballooning, and every time Swiffer doesn't die, he's always a big threat. Now there's a Sleepy Trouble beach ball. Right into the face of Chaz goes the winner's bite proc. Crazy going to have to intercept a little bit here, and now a lot of Legacy members sitting into the mid lane, but Jake is also matching on the opposite side. Meanwhile, Spooks is going to go ahead and start off onto the Rift Herald, and there is no response from Legacy.
Yeah, Guts is on the bottom side of the map. I will say they have vision that does now just get denied by the pink ward.
Chaz is coming up. Will it be enough? That's the question.
He's a flashless Zed. He's also a Shockblade Zed, so doesn't have the Blood Moon skin. What the hell are you doing, Chaz? Come on, bud.
No Skinergy. Unlucky.
But they may have just been able to decide this one for long enough. They're actually looking to proc
this. The aggro. They should be able to secure this one. Spooks is backed away.
Yeah.
And that's actually a nice little steal away that they pull off.
This is...
Let's see if they can get away from it. That's the question. Crazy forced to flash as Jake is coming in, and Chaz just walks away. So Order don't really get anything for the trouble here but the flash.
How many times does this have to happen before we start calling it the OPL Rift Herald? Where like you just start that one up and you lose it immediately. You walk
need to come up with a shorter name for it, I think.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. That does seem to be a little bit of a hallmark of the Oceanic League right now. People not really thinking about how much time it will take.
Yeah, well, that one wasn't time. They needed more time. They did it too quickly. Jake was rotating up, but Crazy was there first because he has Mobies and he's walking from base. Legacy, they had the vision they prepared earlier. I expect it was probably Paprise's ward because it was over the back of the pit, which makes a lot of sense there. So they knew what was going down. They rotate over first to the play, and Order just had to buy time for Jake to land, for Swiffer to land. But unfortunately for them, it just wasn't the case. And this... Oh, he flashes for the chunk. Oh.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Swiffer may have started this game afraid of Chaz, but I think the shoes on the other foot now.
Absolutely. Has the Ludens, has the stopwatch still, so one-time use Monopoly get out of jail free card is certainly still available.
And
This
Guts
is the
is
second
never
blue
going
buff.
to see. I think it's the third, actually.
Yeah.
Guts is never going to see a blue buff
This is
in this game.
You know what happened? Swiffer didn't get one yesterday, and he's like, man, this sucks. Why can't we steal blue buffs? And the boys are like, yeah, all right. That sounds like a good strat. Let's do it. And Chaz probably doesn't care that much because he's on the Z, so it's not like a Cassio being denied that Swiffer had to deal with. But,
No, but Guts is definitely gonna
Yes.
feel it right now because he's been kept down. This will be the first tower of the game going the way of Order, then that gold lead just continues to start snowballing through here, and Swiffer, ooh, Guts is gonna cop another one on the Paddle Star. Chaz still hunting around
Here
here,
we go.
but he's got a level disadvantage.
Swiffer knows something is up, is just
He's gonna
standing
back away.
around resetting in a very weird position. The ward does spot out Chaz, and
Ghost Borrow.
Pink ward does the same. That's a Rift Herald popped. Very deep.
They're gonna force Swiffer to reposition here, but yeah, that was a far away one. Sleepy Trouble Bubble comes through.
Can they break
Just
the
gonna land on a
turret?
couple of minions.
Tally's
I
ulting
think they
in.
get close, but Tally has come through, and that's gonna force the Shadow Step out of Chaz. Herald's not gonna result in the tower.
Yeah, they do get a nice big chunk, but unfortunately for Legacy, this wasn't the Mammoth game we saw earlier, where the timing was like 13 minutes and in 50 seconds they break 4 plates. King is just rich off the back end. This is 15 minutes, no plates to be seen, so nobody really gets the gold from that one. And I didn't see the time left on the Rift Herald. I wonder if it was just timing out.
I think they'd only just taken it.
Like, I feel like it was too soon to be a timeout Rift Herald, but
Yeah.
they do pop it. Maybe the rotation from the bottom lane, Crazy was certainly coming, and they're just looking to open up some map control, because that does favor a Zed. He wants to get access to the side lane, the
That's
long
true.
lanes to 1v1.
But maybe it was a bit of a hasty pop.
Yeah.
Now that's going to turn around once again. They pick up a second Mountain Dragon, which means they should be able to chunk through this tower pretty easily. Crazy will land a hook onto the Zoe. He's been pretty solid at threading those needles, but the problem is they can't really follow up into 4 members of Order.
Yeah. He's landed a few nice hooks, but ultimately doesn't have the members to be able to force this one. Dream is actually going for the side lane play here on Nico. Now, this is the first Nico we've seen win lane, 30 CS up.
Yeah, that's true, and in the hands of Dream this time around, but they haven't really been using it for any of the gimmicks. It just kind of feels like Dream has just been playing for, you know, standard on-hit AD carry. We haven't seen any crazy splinter images or anything like that.
Yeah.
Pop Blossoms, he's going to need a big AoE fight. If everyone crams into a Kindred ult, maybe that's the big difference. Maybe that's the time it'll work out.
Yeah, it's one of those like a Zia things or a Gragas thing where it's kind of, or like Lissandra.
Or
when
Cannon ult even.
Cannon, everybody crams in, and it's like, here are boys, like AoE over the top. Of course, the Kindred's on his team, so Legacy would have to commit hard Swiffer.
That was some dirty damage, but Swiffer unfortunately might have isolated himself. He is going to flash and bait out Crazy. Sleepy Trouble. Bubble, goodbye to Dobie.
Yeah, big Dobes is very small Dobes right now. 1 and 3 on the Thresh. That is pretty rough. He did get the Ignite, Flash, and Stopwatch out of Swiffer, so the victor in this play for Legacy was certainly Chaz, who has kill opportunities.
And
Flash
they're gonna
gets
chase it
burnt,
on
but
in.
Tally's
Once
going
again, the
hard.
unstoppable onslaught running straight into Paparize, who pops his stopwatch and flashes away. Chaos Storm down, but can they defend their tower here? Praetor is still going to cop a little bit of extra damage from the chunk of Swiffer, and they will turn the push around, but they've lost all of their outer towers and have yet to grab one of their own.
And Order just do so much damage to structures. Mountain Drake has just sped up this game so incredibly quickly. They're able to break down the outer ring a minute 50 seconds before Baron spawns, and they're going to do that very, very quickly. They have on-hit damage, balk percentage, health from the Nico, from their AD carry. They have an AD carry jungler in the Kindred as well, so with double mountains, they're basically going to one-shot that.
Yep. And Swiffer is very slowly, very steadily getting fed.
Yeah.
That's always a bit of a worry if you're the Legacy lineup. Also, you know, we haven't touched in on it because it's been like one of the quieter aspects of the game, but I wonder how many stacks, marks rather, Spooks has been able to pick up this game.
Yeah, because he's had basically free reign of the jungle. And there it is. Is that 5? He's got 5 stacks.
Oh, and that's pretty solid at 18 minutes.
Yeah, feels pretty good because you've seen like all of their lanes. Bot lane, every time they have prior, have been walking into bot side jungle. So Spooks gets free reign and is getting all the scuttle crabs. Like Tally hasn't had much control over top side, but has weathered the storm very effectively against the Victor, as he should, right? He's 10 CS up. He probably shouldn't be at an advantage right now, but that's just given the fact that his team is winning right now. But the big recipient of this early game is Swiffer. Nothing bad went wrong, like pre-level 6 or just pre-level 9, really, in the Z matchup. So
Chad never had a chance to really one-on-one him.
Chaz hasn't found a 1v1 at all. He's used ultis in the skirmishes. I think he's only used 1 this game. No, 2. 1 on Kindred and 1 in the bottom side skirmish around that blue buff. So one-on-ones is the name of the game and hasn't found it at all. So certainly struggling here.
That's certainly the case. We're getting closer and closer to that 20-minute mark. Baron will spawn, and you can already see Order starting to get map control around the back of the pit, throwing down a couple of wards. and it just seems like Legacy's in damage control mode.
Yeah, they have a couple of minutes, probably around 3, given the timing of Tally's TP. Order don't have a tank, realistically, in their 4. Braum, building a redemption. Supports don't get that much gold anyway, so they're off-tanky at best, even if you do pick something like the Braum. So starting up the Baron is a big decision for Order's composition. They really need Tally to be there, so I feel like Legacy have a couple of minutes of respite. Swiffer doesn't have flash here.
And there's the flash on Burrow. They're going to turn it around. Swiffer trying to get back to the help of Jake. Will he be able to get into the pit? And it's a shutdown, but it's Guts who picks it up. He will be happy for the gold, however, and the Lantern will get him out of the Baron pit.
Yeah, very nice pick onto the mid laner of Order. Slightly out of position, not playing in line with the rest of his teammates. You can see on his face right now, pretty disappointed in that death. 650 gold probably would have been much nicer to go to Chaz, but unfortunately, Swiffer went over the wall, and Rek'Sai ulti claims the kill.
There's Spooks waiting around as well, that hook. A little bit out of the range of picking up Tally, but Legacy all of a sudden playing with a little bit more fire here. However, Order looked like they were going to turn it around, and Tally stopped short. Bit of a failure to launch there.
He just hit a wall.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe this was a sneaky play where Dream disguised himself as the Scion and then showed in mid lane, and then they were trying to get something from the angle. But Tally just... he just drove that train right into the wall. So bad luck, and it doesn't work. Chaz gets some time because of it to push in the turret, and he's going to get that solo turret.
That is why you always want to take the time to properly be trained in locomotive safety.
Yeah, you know, got to do some of the checks, you know.
Yeah. Complicated machines, trains are.
Whoa,
boy, Paprise! That was a big oopsie.
See ya. Yeah, he just dies. He walks up.
You know, I'm no scientist, but I believe in the League world they call that running it down mid.
Yeah, somewhat. You know, that's a little bit of a roughie. Disconnected from the rest of his team. Spook's going to solo out his 3rd dragon of the game, and all 3 have been absolute bangers. And Chaz was pushing on the top side, trying to push in on the inner, but because his top laner died, this is an inhib being broken at 21 minutes without the use of Baron buff.
They know they have the numbers right now, and they can just charge on in. 2 Mountain Dragons certainly giving them the extra damage, and they feel confident enough to fight it out if they need to. Legacy looking in real trouble.
Yeah, and if you liken it to like what the picks are meaning, Swiffer dies and Order back away. They look to defend their outer turret, and mind you, like there's an outer turret to be there, whereas Legacy, it wasn't up for their side, but like Paprise gets picked. They had time to defend their inhib. They had time to walk back to base to defend the push.
Oh!
But they just straight up don't. They're going to lose it.
Now Crazy's going to flash forward the last of his health bar to try and help take out Swiffer, who tries to get the pick off on top of him, and he will.
1 for 1.
But Chaz finally gets a pick off.
Yeah,
I think Crazy was probably dead to rights either way there, but still.
First kill of the game to the Zeds, so certainly feels nice. I feel like Swiffer is playing a little bit too far forward here. Goes back and finishes his Zhonya's, so the next time that happens, we'll have an extra button to play with. But Order certainly with a mid lane inhib break want to start playing around this Baron. Gold lead has been slowly and steadily growing. 5k in their back pocket.
Paprise is going to have to be a little more careful than he did last time. He's surrounded by Order wards as well. There are a couple throughout the lane in the mid of Legacy, but a lot of attention is going to need to be paid while that inhibitor is still down. If Legacy want any hope of being able to control this Baron pit, next biggest valuable target on the map.
Yeah, certainly the case. And look at the cooldown of Tally's TP is now available. So the timer has run out. Where I was saying Legacy have just free time to play with because Order can't force. They certainly can force now. Pink Ward spots out the Zed, and he will probably have to back away as soon as the bot lane shows.
Looks like he feels confident enough to be able to finish that ward off. However, Spooks goes in into the Wolf's Frenzy, clips a little bit of his health bar,
Yeah,
and now this is back away. Okay, he turns it around.
Mid lane was being pushed in by Swiffer at the time, though, so Order just matching their waves as best as possible. Guts has the vision here, spots out what Order are doing, but no real ability to contest. I feel like Tally was walking over to the players, not showing on the bot waves as Legacy cannot see him, and they're just trying to deny as much vision as possible.
Blind hook onto Spooks, but Jake is there for the body block.
Oh,
Jake has been very solid this game, but he can't cover everybody. Looking for Dream is Chaz. Instant exhaust down. They will take him outside of the Lamb's Respite, and they turn this fight on. Guts comes in a little bit too late. Pop Blossom not going to connect, but doesn't matter. It zones away the remaining members of Legacy. The double kill going to Spooks, and what looked like a catch turns all the way around.
Yeah, Chaz looks for the one opportunity he's found all game and can't quite deal enough damage to Dream. Nico does so well with the instant like burst champions, right? Zed comes down and then she goes invisible and dashes to another side. Jake with a very nice prediction of the shadow knocks up Chaz, and they clean house. 3 deaths means an uncontested Baron, and Gold lead explodes open. the game could be ending very soon if Order play their cards right.
Yeah, here's the start of it again. We'll see how Chaz goes in on a Dream, who does get isolated for only a moment.
Yeah, they're just trying to contest the vision. He gets a very nice chunk, but Exhaust comes through. Lamb's Respite denies the pop onto Vanico, and that was the ulti from Braum I was talking about. Guts tries his best to get onto the back line, but nothing he can do. Paprai's walking over. Praetor can't hit anyone at this stage. The fight is all but lost. And that's Baron. That's a gold lead, and Inhib spawning soon. It's going to be hard to defend.
Yeah, so I can start to see that this Nico being really valuable in the sense that she can defy a fair bit of death, right? Like, there is some disengageability. The fact that he could go invisible, bait out in a different direction, kind of the way LeBlanc can do.
Yeah.
And that was kind of cool.
In the bottom lane, I probably think she functions like, if people remember Reckless just playing a whole bunch of AD cannon, probably functions fairly similarly, but has a better laning phase, right?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
You build on hit, you have a lot of attack speed, and if they dive on you, you have an R button to dissuade like what they're doing. If Zed's in a 1v1, you're probably going to lose anyway, right? Like, that's where he wants to be.
So you're totally right, Bryce, but when you said AD Reckless Kennen, my brain just started having flashbacks, and I'm like, oh, those were the days.
Yeah. So, like,
not always good ones.
It has...
Even when it wasn't
a better lane,
working.
But yeah, it's... Of course, we've seen 2 games from AV where they weren't in matchups where they could pressure.
Yeah.
This is Order with a Nico in the bottom lane, and they had the pressure the entire time, and the team comp has come around Dream to be able to facilitate his play.
Yeah. I think also you can see the same thing for Swiffer and Spooks, who've pretty much come up aces with the damage dealing and death denial on their own parts. Tally and Jake have been a great front line, and I think it's easy to say when you're looking at a team like Legacy who still has a lot to work on as they burst down Chaz once again. But they definitely seem to be looking pretty solid here in this game. Swiffer goes in for another portal jump and gets a little extra bit of damage off.
But that is a very important cooldown in the Chaos Storm from Paprise. That is one wave he kind of buys them with the use of his ulti. Spooks is going back up to Baron the wave, but unfortunately for him, that got changed a while ago. Baron doesn't actually speed up the creeps, so...
It does make him bigger and purpler, though.
Yeah, that's
valuable.
True. Yeah, you got me there.
Yeah.
But this wave is going to be the hard one to defend. That's a big chunk onto Guts.
He might have to back after that one. Dream does get taken a little bit low, though, and all of a sudden Order do back a little bit off, and they're getting chip damage on the turret, but not enough to go in and knock it down. Inhibitors back up in the mid lane, so Order, they're stymied for now.
Yeah, and I will say this is entirely of their own volition. They're playing single lane League of Legends. Tally has TP. They have control of the topside jungle. They can push in mid wave and then match it with top and then look to push on 2 pressure points, but they were just like, nah guys, like mid and Hib was dead for the time being. Let's just run it up top lane, and didn't make as much progress as you probably would have liked them to, given they have this gold lead, given that they have the Force, the Poke, and the Baron buff.
And you know, Order
they still have some time.
That sometimes don't push in multiple ways. Like I kind of feel like they hold themselves back a little bit here as Chaz gets caught. And I want to go into a little more about like what that means.
Hold that thought. Does he find Swiffer? He has vision.
Oh, Swiffer almost finds him. Ghostblade popped.
Oh, got the slowdown, but Ghostblade will get him away. Okay.
If that was Metal Gear Solid, there would have been a big old exclamation point above his head. Yeah, he just got absolutely found out. Order going to push on this. So what I was talking about is I think Order sometimes don't want to spread themselves thin.
Yeah,
if you know what I mean? Even when it's the right thing to do. I feel like they get inside their own heads.
A very hard force team. Like Tally, when he has TP, groups a lot, right? So he is, like, they're not farming the map efficiently, which farming the map efficiently isn't the right thing to do all the time. Like, if you have the hard force comp, which, like, a Scion can do, right? Like, you walk to the play, you Scion ulti, you butt some heads.
But they still like to play Deathball League of Legends.
Yeah, but like
despite that.
Yeah, they go towards it, but oftentimes maybe a little bit too much, and maybe this was a marker for that, right? They all commit topside, they have the Baron buff, they didn't break the base.
Frozen Fist Scion as well. I like it.
Oh, yeah,
good stuff.
Okay. Still has his stopwatch as well. So.
I mean, this is a team that just has CC on CC at this point. Next Baron will obviously be something they'll keep their eyes on, but the play effectively gets reset here as Chaz is getting spotted out by Spooks into the Wolf's Frenzy, and Dream is there, goes in for the Death Mark, tags his way away and flashes as well, but Jake gonna get that knock up, and he's gonna have to walk through it. The Lantern out to safety, and he pulls the Disappearing Act, but Order threw everything in the kitchen sink out.
Yeah, off the side of the screen as well, a bubble, I think, laid out onto Praetor, so he had to burn the QSS, so Swiffer gets out another little bit of that advantage. Paprai playing some cheeky League of Legends here. He's floating heavy up mid lane to force that
he should
wave.
Start running.
And yeah, it does. He runs to the bottom side of the map, just buys them a little bit of time.
So Paprai is always good at recognizing when there's a chance to push waves. Maybe that's not always the best time to do it because maybe it's better to be with his team. But like ever since that Ribbon game, I've been just keeping an eye on any time he's not with the team. And he always finds ways to to push it just a little bit more, which could be slowing down Order's game plan.
Because on previous teams like Tectonic, he was like a big Camille player, right? Like he's a side lane player at heart, and Victor is that champion, at least until the late game hits. You get to play with the Klepto, you get to just Q auto attack Sion's head all game, and then you deal damage in the team fights later on. Guts, almost walked into a bubble.
Gotta be careful. Those can mean pretty instant death at the hands of Swiffer. And that's only a 2.5 item Zoe right now, too. He was already chunking health bars with just a last chapter about 20 minutes ago this game. 30 minutes on the clock, though. Gold game about 9,000 in advantage of Order. 7 towers to 1. That's definitely a big part of it, but the kill's certainly helping out. And Legacy, they are not knocked out of this game yet, but they are more or less confined to their base and just outside of it.
And have been for the last couple of minutes. You can see Order are just heavily contesting vision towards the top side of the map. If we can toggle onto Legacy's vision, they see nothing. This is pink wards everywhere. They cannot even see towards their red buff, and Baron is just spawning. So I expect Order to either look for the one hit on the Baron or look for these picks in the jungle. They should be able to force this play. They've been setting it up for the last couple of minutes. They haven't been willing without Baron to hard commit to a base break, right? They haven't Sion ultied into an inhib just to straight up force a fight, because it's a fairly risky play against a Kalista, against a Thresh, against the Victor. They
and here we go.
Want to play the slow style, and Baron is getting absolutely bombed.
There's the turn here from Order. They go around, do miss onto the Braum ultimate.
Oh,
However,
what?
the Sion gets into the back line, going golden here. Let's see if Legacy can slip out of the grasp as Guts goes in looking for Jake, and it's just chaos all over the place and a chaos storm to boot. Let's see if they have the damage, looking for even more. But Jake
nice
takes
pull.
down Chaz. Paprise finds a kill on the opposite side, and Praedith is coming up with one as well. Legacy defying the odds, find the fight they needed.
And Order straight up miss every single ability, and Legacy just come up with a team fight. Guts is still alive, but they're looking to break the outer turret. Do they just go back to Baron?
They should.
Yes, they have a jungler. They have the smite. It wasn't used in the fight, and Praedith is playing Kalista. The secure is here. Order may have just thrown the game.
Order have thrown everything here. They used almost every ultimate. They used every summoner. And they did miss so many of them, but Swiffer's still trying to pick this one back up for them right now. And there's going to be a big chunk out onto Paprise.
No.
They take him down, and instantly Legacy bail out with Tally and Swiffer at their backs. They just had too much of a lead here, and now they're going to make up for the lost time. Crazy gonna fall.
And maybe just bite off a little bit more than they can chew. Paprise doesn't stick towards the Baron with the rest of his team. He tries to kind of mark Swiffer and keep him away from the Baron pit. Unfortunately, he falls down, as does their chance of picking up the big purple worm. If Order get this Baron, this is probably the least deserved Baron we've seen today.
That feels so bad for Legacy, man.
Jake?
They should have had it, and Swiffer was able to just push them off as soon as Tally came back up. It evened out, and I don't think they have the heart to try for it again.
Yeah, and that was the excitement, right, in the team fight, that Legacy, they've been losing the entire game. As soon as they get something, they're like, yes, force the play, do the Baron, immediately, like, we're back in the driver's seat, when realistically, like, no, they're still like 7K-ish gold down.
But that would have been a start.
Yeah, and it's like a team fight that equalizes. Then the next Baron contest is fairly easy, but to think at how that happened, Braum ulti, straight up misses. Sion ulti, straight up misses. And then that's their big two forms of like starting up a fight. Swiffer is in and out on the Zoe. Nico, unless she has a frontline in front of her, can't realistically auto-attack that well. And it was just nice disruption by the Rek'Sai, by the Zed. It was a nice hook by Crazy, who's been landing some good hooks despite his deaths this game. And the fight went their way, but unfortunately, in the end picture, it is Order. They get the Baron off the back end, and they're going to get a 5th Dragon of the game.
Third Mountain, 5th Dragon. I mean, Order have got everything, and if they even get to a point where that Elder will spawn, I want to say I'd be surprised, but to be completely honest, I don't think I would.
Yeah, because it's like in both camps. You look at the state of the map, and you're like, Order should be able to break the base with it, and probably second Baron of the game with this gold lead should be able to end, but
Swiffer sniffing around for Chaz once again, who's just had such a hard time finding those picks. And he's just not afraid anymore.
Yeah, and this time they're playing one lane, but they don't have Tally's TP. They're actually going to match it here, so realizing potentially a little bit of their mistakes here. Growth within the game, and they're looking to push in mid lane. It is a bear inhib naked in the mid lane, and we're just going to look to force this one. Spooks cops a nice bit of chunk from Paprise, and the Guardian is blocked as well from Jake.
Gravity field thrown down just to try and dissuade them, but it really only
very
buys
nice
a tiny
bubble.
bit of time, and that's going to force the defensive move away from Chaz here. And see, Swiffer doesn't even need to land that chunk. All he's got to do is hit a bubble. That's a big old wide hitbox to scare people away. Inhibitor taken down, and Order rotate towards the bottom side, continuing this death ball single lane League of Legends.
Yeah, and can they defend the second inhib? Bubble lands round number 2.
And here comes the Scion. Tally going to try and stand on top of that Lantern, and it doesn't even matter. Paprise gets popped like a bubble. Praedyth going to fall as well into the Guardian Angel he goes, but that won't really keep him alive for a whole lot longer, and doesn't really matter that Tally gets hooked by Crazy there. Order still 5 members strong, take out 1 inhib and let the minions march in to tank up the towers, and this looks like lights out.
Yeah, absolutely. Onto the Nexus. Guts is going in.
Trying for a desperation play here. Chaz goes into the back line, gets instantly exhausted, can't get the pop off onto anybody. Spook's nearly falling down, and it can't fault Legacy for trying. They keep going in, but time and time again, Order smacked them back down. And with that double kill to the Nico, that is the death knell as Order will take their 10th win in Week 8 here.
And it's a tough loss. You can see Spooks.
Excuse me, 7th win. I got my 9 and my 6 mixed
up. Bashing himself on the head. Maybe a little bit unhappy with the throw in the mid-game there. They did kind of toss it over somewhat, but the recovery is nice. It was more of a slow build over the course of that game. You know, it's a flash at level 1, the constant pressure into the jungle from that point, but at the end of the day, a win's a win, and they have to be happy to lock it down.
They do, and you know they very much need to secure as many wins as they can, especially against these teams that are towards the bottom of the standings.
Yeah.
You just can't afford to be giving up what should, in theory, be the easiest points you're going to get.
The middle of the pack is so muddy that if you're not beating teams below you, then like you're straight up just falling behind, right? So this is an absolutely necessary win. Legacy, on the other hand, like to look at them going into this game, it was a very rough start. They're still buckling down and doing their same sort of play. They're sticking to the early game. Chaz gets his signature pick in the Zed. Didn't do too much work by the nature of how Order played that game, right? They put a lot of respect to the Zed. Like this wasn't like a slapping around of Legacy. They're looking at their comp and they're like, okay, like this guy we do have to worry about. So floating up the river, getting the control around so that he can't find the 1v1s.
They did play around him very well.
Yeah, absolutely. And then like once that happened, once the wild cardy stuff didn't really happen, Order just closed out the game.
Yeah, the only real thing you can knock points off them for is the fact that they almost gave up the Baron by having just a completely thrown fight, but they recovered well. A lot of that, credit to Swiffer for really coming in and just scaring the bejesus out of Legacy.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, you know, a win's a win. They definitely will take it, and let's see what the couch has to say about it.
Well, Order take it out, and Rusty,
Hey,
it wasn't the most clean win of all time, but it was an important win for Order heading towards the Gauntlet week.
yeah, absolutely. It's a must-win game. Every game is must-win from this point onwards, so we'll start to sound like a broken record. But Order, I would say they, from like 35 seconds in the game, should have won the game. Like, they had a big lead. They had a big advantage. Order are so good in the early game, and they were accelerated. And I don't think we saw a massive amount of any mid-game woes that you would look at Order and say they've been suffering from perhaps in the past. There was the one moment around the Baron. There was a slower end than perhaps it could have been. But they still felt in control, and there was only that one real big hiccup. That otherwise was a good game.
If you're going to be super critical of this game, Tally played weak side really well. I thought that he did his job. Like, big tick. He was 0-0-0, and he was probably one of the best 0-0-0 Scions like that had been. He was just like really good ults, really good rotations down to the play. The two areas that I would pick on were unfortunately both the guy that's about to be interviewed. Swiffer got caught twice, like rotating to a play. He got caught once Tri-Brush, and then he got caught on his other death. And even the team fight that Order lost, he had been chunked out in the jungle. So he had to recall, tried to rejoin the fight from an angle, and they weren't able to fight front to back. So like, don't get me wrong, this wasn't the cleanest game. But I also think the cast was like really critical on Order. As Rusty said, from 45 seconds into this game until 37 minutes into the game, Order held the gold lead the whole time. Like, Legacy got 0 blue buffs the whole game. Like, not as in like they got 0 in a row. Like, I think Spooks took every single blue buff that spawned from Legacy. I didn't see Chaz with a blue buff until he killed Swiffer in the top lane. So I think that like that was a much better bottom lane performance and a much better jungle performance from Order. And there was like one hiccup in the mid game. Otherwise, it was pretty clean. And that hiccup probably cost them, 45 seconds total game time. Because they respawned, killed them, and then took Baron anyway.
And I think this is a good opportunity as well that we finally saw Nico victory. Of course, AV are the ones that have gone 0-2 with it so far to profess. The champion is good, okay? It's not just that like the champion sucks. All of you people in Twitch chat, they're like, oh, it's Nico. It's not Nico. Be quiet. That champion's good. It's about bot lane priority and a jungler.
Yeah,
that's
I think
what
that
it's about.
So what people don't understand is like any lane can get priority if they have a jungle behind it. Because if you have a jungle there first, you can push harder, and then whoever comes late to it, unless they come through lane, which is very predictable and a lot of junglers can't do, then you can just fight either a 3v1 or a 3v2, depending on which way you want to go. So, I mean, it's super important to play champions that need to harass like Nico, that have really good setup and really good like Ash, Varus, Cannon, like as I was mentioning, all these champions, Kalista, all facilitate really well to their supports. I actually think that if we had have seen the Kindred on Guts and Spooks on the Rek'Sai, then Kalista Thresh would have been pushing into the Nico. And the lane would have looked the exact same, but just played on the other side of the map because junglers are that important to the safety of allowing you to push up in those kind of situations.
Yep. All right, well, an important win for Order, and let's throw it to the desk to see how Swiffer feels about it.
I think it should feel pretty good, all things considering. You were scaring everyone on Legacy on your Zoe from pretty much like minute 5. But let's talk about that laning matchup because a lot of it did seem to be dancing around the Zed. Were you worried at all when you saw that locked in by Chaz?
No, we knew that he was going to play that. I didn't think that he was going to play it into the Zoe. I thought that if I blind pick Syndra, he would play it. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't like that much of a surprise. No.
Okay, so you see that kind of thing coming. It's telegraphed, and you can usually play around it. But Order overall do seem like the team that does play this control style, try to shut down any of the threats on the opposite side above all else. Is that the kind of thing that you do because you guys have decided it's an optimal strategy, or is that personal preference?
What do you mean by
it's just trying to stop the enemy team from really doing anything, it feels like.
Oh, I feel like that's how you play League, just generally. That's
one way to approach it.
I think it's like if you want to win, you have to stop the enemy team from doing things. So yeah, no, that's our preferred strategy. Yeah.
Fair enough. I'll take it there.
Yeah.
Cool. So now you guys find yourselves a 7th win here. You're still solidly in the playoff race. Do you feel like there's a lot that you still need to work on as a team, or are you confident that you're really building up to what could be a good gauntlet run?
I think there are a few things that we need to iron out before the gauntlet run, to be honest. I don't want to get into too many specifics because I don't want people to know what we're really bad at, but I mean, it's obvious. So, yeah, there are a few kinks that we need to iron out before we get into gauntlet so that we actually have a real shot of competing.
Okay, so how is the mood in the team? Like, how are the confidence levels that you guys can make that happen ahead of time?
I think our results for this round robin kind of reflect like where I think we are as a team currently. So like losing to Chiefs in the manner that we did, I think was very obviously showed our flaws. I think the general mood is pretty optimistic though that we can make it happen. So yeah, hoping to carry that through. Thanks, Nick.
Well, best of luck. You have a tough couple of matchups next week, and I hope to see how well you guys perform in them. Let's send it back to the couch though.
For context, I was giving him a big thumbs down.
Why?
I just like to